Hello and welcome to the PM Show, your weekly roundup of what's going on in the modelling world. Good morning, gentlemen. How are we today?
Good morning, thank you. Fine, thanks.
Morning. Yes, all
Morning. Good. All going well. I see you have the latest release from Airfix in front of you in your grubby little mitts.
We do. Yes, that came in. So we have the Mosquito.
Our very own Pramjets.
It's Mosquito.
Yeah.
Which is shining lovely off the lights. But there you go. So yeah, that's in. That arrived. We're sending you on down for review.
Very nice. Yes.
So there's a couple other bits arriving that's doing as well. We'll get you a little package together so you can have a look, see what you think. Hopefully it's all there.
Very nice. Well, the thing is, we have been following along that build with Pramjet, who is Airfix's designer for that one. As some of you probably know, he's a member of ours as well, and a family friend of PM Models and Flooring Models for very many years, to be honest.
Yeah.
And he's been lucky enough to come onto a lot of our shows talking about the design process of that particular kit.
Yes.
Talking us through it. So we've been following that build for quite a while now.
Yeah.
So it's nice to actually see it through to fruition, isn't it? To see it from literally concept to kit, so to speak, and seeing all the things that have gone into there and all the different ways they've done it. He's done it, explained it very, very well of how they go through the design process and how he builds a kit around it. And like, if you've seen, they did a video, I think, beginning of the week, wasn't it? Where they interviewed Pramjit as well, and he was talking about it. But very, very interesting. And again, it's nice to see a designer who's a modeler.
Yeah.
So again, there's some nice little touches in that kit as well, where you think, you can tell a modeller's designed it rather than a designer, so to speak. So
I think he's tried to make the undercarriage easier, hasn't he, and less complicated. And
so you can fit it afterwards as well. So for painting and things, like we often speak about, don't we, instructions, isn't it? You look at instructions and it's like, who the hell would put pitot tubes on in step 2? Of the build. It's clearly never a modeler would do that. He's always going to put them on last and various things. And as I say, sometimes, really you scratch your head thinking, why would you ever do it there? But luckily, as I say, with Pramjit on that particular one, he's thought about the modeler and how he would put it together. So it's nice to see kits come along like that. Don't get me wrong, I don't think it's just obviously Pramjit doing that one. Bandai think about it as well, because Bandai are fantastic for it. They do as well. And other manufacturers, to be honest, Meng usually are pretty good as well, the way theirs go together. They have a certain build, so we many a times you do think there's definitely somebody who knows what they're doing behind the scenes here from a modelling point of view, even when it comes to painting, various situations of having separate parts just to make painting easier and stuff like that.
Yeah, be interesting for you to have a look at, because this is a 2-stage Merlin.
Yeah. So
I don't know if anybody's ever released a 2-stage Merlin kit before. They might have. Perhaps the old Matchbox. Was the old Matchbox one 2-stage Merlin?
I don't know it that well.
I don't know the ins and outs of obviously a Mosquito, but again, it's obviously this one's new tooled anyway. Do you really?
What's the difference?
I have no idea. Do you know?
It's the exhausts and things on there, isn't it? And things like that.
Has it got a different intake? It looks like it's got different intakes.
Got a little doofers underneath. Yeah, a little. Yeah,
don't know.
Funny enough, DCS, my flight sim thing I do, are just releasing a Mosquito as well, and they're doing the full history into it. It seemed quite weird how you get a model kit's been released as it comes out, because it's done it with other things as well. It's like they're almost intertwined, because obviously we had the Hind gunship come out just as Vedsta's released theirs.
Yeah.
So, and now we've got a Mozzie coming out when the Mozzie's coming out as well, and it's like, wow, okay. But very, very interesting kit, very cool. And again, it's one of those ones which, as a iconic British, the wooden wonder, shall we say?
Yeah.
It's nice to have it now. Obviously, with that one, makes you wonder if you might see other scales, because let's face it, Tamiya, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or Airfix did do a 40. Did they? No, they didn't, did they?
Yeah, they did.
They did an old one, wasn't it? 48 scale.
Revell have done a.
Revell did an old one.
I think they're all just single stage. Because I'm an expert on
stages.
Mosquito engines. But yeah, you never know, do you? Yeah, they might.
So perhaps they might upscale and do the 48th one as well, just to bring it in. Because that way, then they've done all the scales. Got 24th, 48th, 72nd.
Yes.
They've got all the bases covered then.
Yeah.
And again, we are, as we know, they've already spoken about, going to see other versions of that kit as well.
Yeah.
So there's some plenty of mileage, let's face it, in Mozzies with all the different versions that are out there. You know, as you say, we're talking stages here of all the rest of it, let alone the fighter bomber version, the recon version, the Navy version even, right the way through, isn't it? So there's lots of different versions of Mozzies you can do.
Yeah, it's going to be a good seller, isn't it? So, so we'll get one winging down to you soon as so you can get a review.
Yeah.
Get your review done. So, have you reviewed that thing behind you then, or?
Yes, this will be up with you later. As I say, I've just got to finish off the editing. I was editing that, to be honest, yesterday, so I'm going to get the editing done for that one. But again, it's typical Meng. It's nice. It's what I call solid. You know, right the way through. It's one of those kits which you can easily put together. The only thing I haven't got for it is obviously they do. I must admit, I dropped the ball on this one. When I ordered it in, I should have perhaps ordered that set. 'Cause it's only about £7 for the Zimmerit set for it. You can get the Zimmerit set for it if you didn't want to put it on yourself. To put it on, but they do it as an aftermarket part for it. And as I say, I think for £7 it's probably a no-brainer to get it and put it on. But apart from that, you know, it is typical Meng, very, very nice kits. As I say, I just call them good, solid kits. You know, all the parts have got good locating areas and it all seems to go together very well. And to be honest with you, I don't think I've ever built a Panther.
I have.
I've done King Tigers. Obviously, we did the big video build of it, and I've done normal Tigers. And I've done them in every bloody scale, but I don't think I've actually done a 35th scale Panther of any particular ilk. So this might.
Quite a few, but I think they've all been Tamiya.
Most Tamiya down there.
Most of the old ones.
I've got a real urge to do a bit of Meng armour at the minute. I think the only Meng armour I've ever built is the Whippet. And there's some really interesting stuff. They do some really nice kits. And like you say, buildability as well, because you've built book system, haven't you? And you've built a few Meng kits, haven't you?
I've done a few Meng kits, I must admit, the nice thing with them, as you say, buildability is probably the perfect word for it, because they go together really very nicely. And again, like we were saying about with certain kits, I think Meng are another one which they think about the build process a little bit. So it's not just bunging it all in, you know, it is done quite in a nice order, the ways to go together. But again, I really like it in the winter camo, and obviously you can see it on there with the one with it all showing through where it's weathered through. That looks absolutely fantastic. So, and again, you can just do the normal ones down in here. But no, it does look very, very nice, I must admit. So, yes, I might just build that at some point. Because also, if I did it in the winter one, it'd go quite nice with my King Tiger.
Yeah, it would. Yeah.
I think they've been quite unique and innovative also in the way they've been doing the tracks, because they seem to change them and up the way they do them
for ease of construction, really, I suppose, isn't it? I think that's the thing with tracks and tanks and armour. Just in general, it's the tedious part of building a tank. The rest of it's really straightforward to build. It is the tracks that put people off doing them, I think, and I think manufacturers now are coming up with ways of making that less painful, shall we say? And obviously, there's other manufacturers that make it more painful, where it's
7 parts per tread, you know, and you're like, really? You know, the bit where you've got to put the guide arms in, you know, in between for the roller, I'm thinking, there you've really taken the mick. That's when you need a small child from another country to put them together for you.
Start pinning them together.
Start pinning them all together, do your nice metal ones and doing them that way. But again, I think, you know, we spoke about it before, haven't we? If you're doing an aircraft, it's all about polishing and making sure your seam lines are perfect and everything else. You spend so much time on that. With armour, it's the tracks. You know, with the hours you would spend filling and sanding, rescribing, re-riveting, putting detail back in and polishing out seam lines you do on aircraft. It's just that if you took that time and equated it into the armour build, because you're never doing that with just putting it together. I don't think I've ever used filler apart from once on a tank in my life. You know, so
with that type of Panther, I mean, what's that? A. So I'll have rubber tyres on it.
Yeah.
And then lots of wheels. So you got lots of
there is
tyres and wheels.
To be honest, though, there's a way of doing it that I've seen now where you don't have to paint all the wheels separate. You can put them together and just leave the outers off, and you can get away with it because obviously the back's in shadow anyway. You're never going to see it, but it is the tracks. It's the bugbear of an armour modeller, and the rubber band tracks. Let's be honest, don't cut it. Full stop. They're awful. No. They don't look right. So it was all right back in the day, but I think now the individual track links and stuff is it is the way to go, just for realism.
If we've seen, though, I must admit, if you go back to the old days of like white metal tracks, the early ones, which had loads of flash on them, you used to have to drill them out, and basically each one you're doing just as much work probably as you would do if you're putting a plastic one together. But nowadays the modern manufacturers that have come along, they are so crisp that you don't have to do any clean out. You don't have to pre-drill the holes out to get rid of all the flash in there. The pins are usually the perfect length for it, and they've got the stopper on it as well, so you can literally just hammer them in, and they fit perfectly. To be honest, that's not so bad when you're putting those together, and it can be quite therapeutic. Especially if you've got like the more modern ones that have got like the push-in rubber treads. For the pads and stuff like that. Those are just a joy to work with. Bit of burnishing fluid and you're good to go. But the bit where you used to get a bag of flash, as I used to call it, it's like white metal, and you've got to get in there with your files and clean up each single one and then pre-drill it. Then you'd have a roll of wire which never wants to fit through anyway, and then you've got to super glue it. Oh Jesus, that to me is like my idea of hell.
The thing is though, with, obviously I know we're on about here with whose tracks you mean. The funny thing is, once they're cleaned up and the pin, half an hour you've gone together.
Yeah, that's it.
It's all the clean up.
It's all the clean up, the prep for it. Yeah.
Prep, but actually putting them together is really easy. I think Master Club ones are the really nice ones, aren't they? Or you can do like what me and Andy's done and just go and buy some Sector 35 ones where they're already done. So you could just either take your links out or add a couple of links and the work's done. But they ain't cheap.
No.
Save you a lot of time. It depends how bone idle you are and lazy if you want to go down that route or not. But it's an interesting thing with the tracks on the tank. I think it's like you've just said it. I think whichever genre you build, there is that tedious element to the build. Yeah, like you said with seam lines and clean up of an aircraft and stencils. Let's be honest, that's tedious. Yeah. And then obviously with armour, more so with armour, it's track links and wheels. Obviously ships, I could see it being railings and
aerials
and everything
antennas.
About build.
Bandai Star Wars.
Oh God, they're tedious. They are just a nightmare.
Terrible. Yeah.
Even car kits.
Because it's obviously all about the finish, then, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's all about getting a gloss finish. Yeah. So
the thing that does me with cars is the rubber seals around the windows.
I actually think you have to have everything in sub-assemblies.
Yeah.
Because you've got an interior that's different. Yeah. It's got its magic pens look. Then
I'll tell you, that's how I do rubber seals now around all my windows. I did it on the truck. I was in part, I think it's 9 of the Ural truck she's done now and all the rest of it. I did all my seals and it took me about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Just pen, push in, perfect rubber seal all the way around. So
I suppose that's a good thing with Army, because you can pretty much build it.
You can with tanks and that.
Without the tracks on.
Yeah.
Spray it.
Yeah.
Weather it.
Yeah.
Weather the tracks, put the tracks on, and
you're there, aren't you? Yeah. Again, it's like that truck you're building in mine. Obviously, we've got chassis to build with all running gear and suspension and an engine, and they can get a bit time consuming. And then again, you painted it in sort of sub-assemblies, aren't you? Because the interior, then the cab and the back and whatever else, and the chassis is obviously normally different colour. I don't know. It's just part of the hobby, isn't it? Just something.
It is. Like we were saying, each genre has its little thing, which most people would probably agree are a pain. You're going to get people and they say, "Oh, I love doing tracks; it's part of it." And you get people who like doing filling and sanding and stuff like that. And again, that's part of it. But I think each genre has its own little part where it's the time. You got to put the hours in to get past that particular area. Say with aircraft, the great thing is normally it's before paint. And then once you're into paint, as soon as the primer's on, normally most of the work's done, and you're into the sort of roll of it then. But as I say, the only thing is nice with tracks, and I've done it many times, is if it's a really tedious one where it has got cleanup and that, like we were saying, the great thing is you can carry on with it. Yeah. So you can do like 20 links, set yourself a goal, right, today I'll do 20 links and we'll do this. And then, so you can just do it in sections and then come along and then done them all. So then it can go on at the end or wherever you want to do it. I know sometimes I've done the tracks first just to get them out of the way.
You know what I was about to say? When I start to do an armour kit, I'll do the tracks first
Get it out of the way then.
Because they can be like you said, or do them in sections because they're tedious. Never do it. Always just chuck the thing and end up with the tracks in the end.
It's a bit like weapons on aircraft, isn't it? I always say to myself, I'm going to do the weapons first. I always forget.
Yeah.
Then get to the end and you're like, no weapons on it.
Yeah, everything's got no weapons. Got
never done it.
You just run out of steam and yeah, that's a good point. I tell you what, it'd be a good Thursday discussion, wouldn't it? Really?
Yes. Which bit is the bit you just forget or just gloss over?
Yeah. or like you say, I should do that first, but you never do. Yeah, it's good. But planning, like you said on one of your bite size, it's planning.
Yeah, it's the bite size is planning your build ahead, looking at your instructions and then going through it. And if you can set yourself a sort of a rough plan on how you're going to go about it, because like we were saying, sometimes instructions will fight you. Because if you do them in their order, you're just going back over yourself and everything else. So, like I always say, take your instructions, list them out, get a pad out, and just scribble some notes, and then make some, like a highlighter pen on your instructions to say, right, we're going to do that then at the end. Forget all of those, But again, things like you say, if you're doing tracks, if you're doing certain things, weapons is a classic as well. Because many a times, everyone, I think, certainly I know, does weapons and they see them as an afterthought. It's not part of the kit. Which really is the wrong mentality, because the weapons are just as much a part of it, So it's a bit like having your MG42 on the roof and just painting it black. It's like, you need to sort of, dry brush it, weather it, all the bits and pieces, just to make it just as much as part of it as the rest of it. So.
I think it's planning to get into it. Really, they should put the weapons first in the instructions to the cockpit. They should put the weapons first, because they always last, don't they?
Yeah.
I think they should put them first, because like I say, that can be, I think putting the weapons and that together and painting weapons is more tedious than seam lines and scribing. By a long way.
Because sometimes I've seen recently as well, if you're doing like an aircraft build, it always used to be the thing, wasn't it? You first, number one, the seat.
Yeah.
Number two, the cockpit. Number three, the wheel wells. They always follow that one. But many of them now, you look at them, especially like the Zucchimoris as well, Great Wall Hobbies as well, you find yourself doing the seat one of the last things. Again, because they think of it of a slightly different way of it going together. And like, after you've done everything, you're thinking you're almost home. And then you find out, actually, I've got to do the seat. And all the glass parts, because they've done it as part of the last ones of doing it, and it sort of throws you sometimes when you look at it and like, stage one, build the weapons,
but it does make sense. Again, like I say with Great Wall Hobby stuff, if you're looking at their MiG-29s and their Su-27s, they're proper loaded with weapons. So.
Oh yeah. Although the nice thing with the Great Wall Hobbies ones is they're pre-built.
Yeah.
Remove from sprue, clean tab, good to go. Best thing ever.
But you got to think deckling up weapons isn't exactly exciting, is it?
No, definitely not. But again, spending that time, it's a big part of it. People look at weapons, and having them done right is just as much as the kit as the rest of it.
Yeah.
But again, it adds to it as well, doesn't it? You can't really. It's like stencil data. You can't really dodge it. You need to put them on there because it is part of the actual real item.
Yeah.
So you need to put stencils on. Just part of it, I suppose, isn't it? So yeah, interesting concept. That's why I don't build aircraft anymore. Especially modern stuff.
So he's dodged all that. He's fed up with stencil data.
Stuff.
Definitely. Anyway, should we have a look at around the store then?
Yep.
Why not?
So obviously not a lot has come in apart from obviously as you can see the Mozzie, so we've got these down in here. So these three, obviously the ones we spoke about really last week, and the one with the blue Max as well. Chipmunk is out. Are we going to get any more Vulcans in, do we know?
Yes, these are on the way.
Cool. Okay, so we've got a restock of Vulcans coming in, so if you want to join along me with that one, we've got those coming in as well. I see ICM are releasing, funny enough, our truck. Did you see that this week?
Are they?
Yeah, apparently they're doing the same one, which is the, the 4320?
The URL, are they? Because they've done the, what's the other one? Oh, God. The other truck that they've released that,
The British one.
No, the Russian truck with all the emergency and, what's the other make of Russian trucks?
Oh, yeah. Is it Gaz?
No. But that's going to annoy me.
Yeah, I know the ones you mean, though.
Wait, what's ICM so I can find out?
What, you mean the little...
No, the big...
Oh, the big ones.
Yeah, the big ones. You know, they do two types. The ones that
there's your L truck, and there's the other.
Yeah, the
not
other
class because they're the modern stuff. I'm on about the older trucks that they did. Oh, geez.
Yeah. Anyway, but apparently they are bringing out a 4320. Same type of thing as the one that mine in as well. It's not like a grad version. It's just the normal truck.
Yeah.
So that'd be interesting to see how that one stacks up against obviously the Zvezda one, because the Zvezda one's really nice.
Talking of ICM, their Bronco's got to be due soon.
Yeah.
The 48 Bronco, hasn't it? So.
And apparently the Cobra, the late version to the one that I did, is due out any minute as well. Apparently I had something from the trade papers over the weekend saying it was out, so that can't be long.
Right.
So we got that one coming along, and as I say, the other bits and pieces we said before, the Messerschmitt, I know there's a few of the Flory members are putting that together. Yes. John started on it yet?
Of course he has. he's still battling on with his sabre.
Oh, is he? He's still masking up.
Finishing stages, I think, of that. So
he's talking about doing something bigger next.
Oh God, yeah.
Is he doing the 24th scale something? Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, he's got an itch he wants to scratch there. Right. Okay. So, but anyway, all the other bits and pieces, as you can see down in here. As I say, we got restocks and various things coming in for them as well.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, this should be dropping in a minute as well. The Foxtrot 2-seat Meng one is due in any second as well, isn't it? And then obviously the Hobby Boss are doing the Growler, which is the G version. That's due any minute as well. So that should be with next month.
We're probably going to put up a quick pre-order for the both of them, to be honest. Probably be limited, obviously, if they do out pretty soon. But we'll do a quick pre-order on them if anybody's interested on the site.
Very nice.
We've also got some new Edard coming in. Some re-releases with the new fancy boxings.
Right.
And then obviously, when we go to our pre-orders, we'll tell you what's coming in, which was ordered yesterday.
Yes.
But they'll be doing this week as well. Bit of luck. Specials are...
Specials are here.
As you can see, so we've got some Tamiya. That's the other thing I wanted to say. As I know from now on, we've got some Tamiya back in. The aircraft are coming back in slowly but surely. But I had an email from them to say they've had an absolute load of containers turn up.
Right.
So obviously they did a lot of RC as well, but I presume it will be kits. They have had delays, obviously, with shipping. They've had dates and that's been put back and blah, blah, blah. But they're obviously becoming in kind of now.
Yeah. So
hopefully our Tamiya stocks will be properly back to normal, as in aircraft-wise. Armour's would have been all right with Armour. It's been aircraft. But
slowly getting back to normal.
Yeah. And obviously with glues and stuff, we're out of extra thin again. That's sold out. So I'm going to actually ring up and get some more, as long as they've got some in, get a load more back again. So.
Yeah, there was a rumour going around the internet that there was a worldwide shortage of extra thin. I think that's why we got cleaned out. But like I have been telling people, not as far as we're concerned, because we can get all the tons of it.
Yeah.
So I don't know where that rumours come from, but there was a rumour going around saying there's a worldwide shortage of extra thin. But
I think people panic because from the last time there was a worldwide shortage on
this. It's like X28.
Yeah.
You remember that? And that was a shortage of X28. God, that was selling silly money, wasn't it? If you got one and selling it on eBay. But yeah, anyway, the specials are up. They've been up since Friday, so if anybody's interested.
Very nice F16. Have to say that's the small mouth version. It's got the little mouth version, is the big one, and again, very, very nice indeed. So good price on that, really, for just over 40 quid.
Yeah.
Fantastic kit. So is the classic Swordfish. Very nice.
Yeah.
Classic Chally too.
Yeah.
And again, so yes, some very, very nice stuff down in there.
Yeah.
And say the Riffield Sherman, you know, this is a Firefly. I think I reviewed the normal Easy 8 type one, but their Shermans are absolutely gorgeous as well. The casting detail on the actual body and everything is probably the best of all the Sherman family.
Yeah, they are definitely up there. To be honest, I wouldn't overlook now you're on about that Panther, the Hobby Boss Panthers either.
Yeah.
They're a nice kit. They are a really nice kit, and somebody you don't really think about, because obviously people go for Tamiya or Riffield, Tacken. But I think you get a lot for your money in there.
Yes, no, definitely. And again, we were talking about Meng. Meng do some really, you know, as I say, they pretty much do everything. But Meng, I think, still gets sort of slightly overlooked.
I honestly think we need a full show on Meng again. I do think we need to discuss them, because they do some really good subjects, especially armour, but even their aircraft and some other bits are nice.
Yes.
And just to highlight them again.
Yeah, I think not like we said before, it's not only the subject but the way they do things, assembly wise and so on. Yeah, it's just like slightly different. And
it's funny. I'm not really a Sherman fan, but I've got a real urge to build a Sherman for some reason at the minute, but not a Firefly.
She wants to scratch.
Yeah, it is. It's bizarre, and I don't know why, because it doesn't coincide with anything on the build schedule. If that makes sense, any group builds or anything.
Do a Russian.
No, I can't. No, I don't know. No, I'm not into Lend-Lease stuff and all that. But anyway, back to.
So yes, very nice as well.
Yeah. And then some your X review
stuff. This is my review stuff down here, guys. So if you want to grab yourself a bit of a bargain.
Yeah, and then a few damaged boxes left, not many.
Yes.
But yeah, go and have a look in that section and see if there's anything that takes your fancy.
Very nice. Right, so we have a look at the pre-orders.
Yeah. So, obviously, look again.
Desert Babe again.
Second time round.
For the limited one.
Yeah.
We don't make, before everyone starts hating on us, we don't say how many is a limited edition, because everybody has asked this. We don't know how much a limited edition is.
No.
So yes, it's got limited edition in the box, so that's what we go with. But when this limited edition will actually end, we're not sure. But for that price, like we said before, it's a bargain. Everybody should just go out and get one.
We were talking last night, and the Revel are bringing out a new
Astor.
Yeah.
I think that's how I pronounce it.
Yeah, Tornado. Price, you said it was like close to 30 quid, didn't you?
It's $29.99 retail.
Yeah, for the standard Revel new boxing that's coming out.
Yeah.
So when you think that it's 20 quid for the Eddard limited edition
Revel.
Yes.
Revel.
Yeah.
but yeah, then you get like the extras, you get like the resin seats and a few bits and bits and
Loads
bobs and those decals. It's a bargain, really. For what
it is, yeah. I didn't realise, obviously, because it's, I presume the Astor one, it's only one set of decals as well in it. It's only one aircraft you can do. So,
it'd be cheaper for you to buy that and buy a set of Astor decals, and
I suppose, yeah.
if it's the same, do you get the same bits in it?
I think it might be slightly different, to be honest. Isn't there? I don't know if the lumps and bumps that make it will come, because the Astars ones isn't that the anti-radiation one, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think so. I don't know if you get any extras or anything.
Yeah.
I don't know. We need to ask Nathan. We'll ask him tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, they do everything in one box.
Because really, what they're doing, they're following through with their 48 scale, isn't it? So obviously, GR1, GR4, Astars in 48 scale.
Yeah.
And obviously the F3, so we're just expecting them to follow through. Be interesting about a 72nd F3, wouldn't it? Just saying.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that one's up as well. Razor Crest is obviously proving quite popular, and again, just to reiterate, this is 72nd scale, because a lot of people have been saying to me about, well, Bandai's bringing one out. Don't forget the Bandai one's 144.
Yeah.
So it's not the same kit. For some reason, there's a bit of confusion with this one. It's totally separate. This is 72nd, and if you know Mandalorian and the Razor Crest, you'll know that's going to be big. So, obviously we can't vouch for the detail of it and all the rest of it till we get our grubby mitts on one, but from what I have seen, it does look quite nice.
Yep.
So that would be a nice one as well. The Counter Invader, which is obviously following on from the B26 Club.
Yep.
Of all the different versions they can squeeze out of this kit. So, but again, very nice. So that's your Vietnam, or the late one. And then after that, do they all become firebombers?
Yeah,
and
drone
and other things, as you'll see in a second.
Yeah.
Oh. So we got that one. Where is it then?
There.
Okay, so this is a drone dropper.
I quite like that.
Bit different. Well, that goes well because this is available as its own kit, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
It's a GB, is it? Is it a GB or something? I don't know.
Yeah. Q drones. So yes, but again, these were available on a trolley.
Yeah.
As a dual pack, so that's a clever little way of doing it, isn't it?
Well, Firebee, sorry, just go down.
Yeah, it's Firebee, isn't it?
Ah, that's it.
Yeah, Firebee drones.
Firebee, that was
Yeah,
it.
I think if you saw that on a competition table or just on
it's going to be bright.
a SIG table, I think it looked fantastic.
It's
what you say? It'd be nice and bright, wouldn't it? With the metals and the oranges with the day glow on it.
I wonder if you get the trolleys for the drones, because it'd be nice perhaps to have one attached and one on.
I assume they do, because if I remember rightly, on the sprues it's part of it. So it's probably what they've just done, isn't it? Is included those in there.
or buy another set and then have them.
I like the way it actually says about it's got the 2 nose options as well for the B and C version of it.
Oh, right, okay.
So you could do it as a normal Invader.
Yeah, you could, yeah.
So that's actually quite a nice kit then. If you're one of these people and not sure what you want to do,
yeah,
obviously you could do it then, because it's got both nose sections as well, the B and the C nose, and then obviously you don't have to use these markings or the drones. So you've got options, I assume, in that kit then.
Would you build an Invader?
Do you know what? I've never done one. And it would be quite nice to do that one in the Dayglow. If I was to do one, I'd probably do that, to be honest, because as I say, even that with a nice, metallizer finish with Dayglow, that'd look absolutely stunning on a table, wouldn't it?
What? So you'd do that over the counter Invader with the C camo?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm surprised at that, if I'm honest.
I do like doing with C camo. Don't get me wrong. I think they look really nice in this, and also you can batter the hell out of them.
Yeah.
Which is always fun. But yeah. If I was to want to do, I'd probably do the metallizer with the thing, just because it's bright and
Yeah,
nice.
It'd go well with your other thing you did.
Yes.
Yeah. Can't think what it is, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then what we have got coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, sorry, the Blackbird, the SR71.
Yeah.
That's now up on pre-order.
Oh, look, we've got the proper picture now.
Well. No, that is the proper picture.
It was a picture of a blackbird, as in the actual animal here earlier.
That was just.
That's due October, apparently. The date is for it.
Yes.
So that's going to be a big lump.
Yeah, the proper box art is out now, which is like that.
Which you'll put up and change for the proper box art for it. But yeah, something, I don't know.
So we better stock up on black paint.
Grey.
People could need a lot of it.
Grey paint. Probably.
Or very dark grey, yeah.
Or what is it, XF85 or 69?
Yeah, 85 I think would be a good one on that.
Rubber black.
Yeah.
Rubber black in it. So
it's going to be a big beast, isn't it?
It's going to be a big kit, that is. That's
it is.
Beyond cutting that length.
I think so, yes, that's a bit longer. I don't know what the length of that will actually be, because I haven't built one for a long time, but I've got a feeling it's got to be around about 65, 70 metres.
I just said it's big.
So, yes.
Hey, we'll see. It's got a bit of interest.
Yeah, that's it. Got
so
lots of people wanting that for pre-order. Yeah.
And the next thing that's coming in, if you go next to the Blackbird, we've got that. The B25, that's coming in. That was all yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully they'll be in by the end of the week.
Very nice.
Again, nice set of decal schemes with it, and the Asagawa.
And it's got lots of nice options on markings as well, isn't it? So.
Yeah. And please somebody bring a 48th one out of that version.
Yeah. That's the C, isn't it? Or is that the D?
That's a J and a H.
Oh, right, okay.
So
it's got the turret at the front with the closed door jobbies at the rear.
Yeah. So that's a J, I think that is. So that's coming in, and the one next to it, if you go back, which is the Camel & Co., which is the Biggles one.
Yep. We're not allowed to call Biggles.
Which we can't call Biggles, so it's Camel & Co.
It's not Biggles & Co.
But obviously that's got fictional decals of Biggles aircraft.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you get two schemes, I think.
Yep, very nice.
You get 2 kids. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. Anyway, that's doing as well. That was ordered at the same time. So Andy will be, in due course, invoicing whoever's put the names down for those as well.
Probably Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
Cool, very good.
And that's about
everything
it.
else we're just sort of waiting on to come in. So, yes.
Somebody did put the name down for a pre-order in messages and said, when do I pay? I think he wanted to pay, like a lot of people do, up front for pre-orders and things. We don't take any money on pre-orders until we get the kits in our grubby hands.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just in case.
You never know, do you?
You never know, absolutely. Plus the fact it's not worth it anymore because there's no interest in the bank.
No.
No.
For that, like 0.1% of interest you get in the bank, it's not worth it. Right, so a couple of questions. Mark has put up, hi guys, my question is, will you be getting in the Gecko Models skid loader when it hits the UK, I presume?
Yes, we will.
Doesn't think it's too far away, but yes, definitely. Can't go wrong with a skid loader.
Sure, it's actually on a container. Missed, I don't know. It's too soon, yeah.
Very nice. Glenn says we'll be getting the Das Works 116 Stug as a pre-order.
If we've got some interest, I've read this question earlier. I think somebody else has asked about it as well.
quite niche, isn't it? 1/16.
It's going to be quite a big thing in 1/16 for stuff.
It's
well, I've got a 1/16 Tiger down there.
You reckon?
And it's that.
Yeah, I reckon a Stug's going to be sort of that length.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit shorter than a Tiger, isn't it? So,
we'll go put a price up and see if anybody's interested in it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we can do that. Chris says, "Hi guys, are you going to be doing a pre-order for the new Meng F18?"
Yes.
Which I presume means the Foxtrot 2-seat and the Edard boxing of the MI24. I presume he means the D.
Yes, we're just waiting for box art
and confirmed prices.
Yeah, confirmation of prices.
We're just waiting for a box top or something to put up as a picture. I suppose we could just put a high-end picture up. But
yeah,
that's definitely going to be a pre-order.
Can do
you could put a picture of mine up.
Donkey's hind leg.
Yeah.
Adam says, "Hi all. In your opinion, who does the best metal finish paints? And can you get sets, or does one have to buy individual purchases? Hopefully, starting my P51 soon."
Right. Individuals, and best ones are either AK or the super metallics.
So, personally, I think AK Extreme Metals will be your best bet for metalizers, purely because they're the most easiest to use. There is other options out there. Obviously, MRP's ones are quite nice and things like that. But also, if you're doing there you go. There's another. If you're doing, metal finishes and you want nice, good finish, high quality ones, then the super metallics. By Guns, they're really, really nice as well. So obviously we spoke about this before. If you're doing a Spitfire, the wings are actually not a metallizer because they're not metal. They're actually puttied over and painted. So the super metallics are really nice for that as well. But unfortunately, in both cases, no one does a set. Actually, do they for the metallics?
No.
They don't.
No.
You did mean P51, didn't you? Not Spitfire.
Sorry, P51. Yes, the Mustang. So so from that point of view, is that if you've got the Edard kit, then it's got usually they all come with a very nice diagram that explains that and tells you which areas are actually silver and which areas are metal, and done various ways. To be honest, I've got a video coming up all about this in the future, so where we look at basically differences between the two. So that means I've got to build a Mustang somewhere.
If you want sets, the only ones you can get in a metalizer is by Vallejo, which is their acrylic range. But we're really struggling to get them back in stock because we obviously stock the Vallejo metal colours if you're an acrylic user and not a lacquer user, shall we say.
Yeah.
But we're really struggling to stock for them at the minute.
Supplies are out of stock of them all the time.
Yes.
I don't know why, no reason. That and putties, really struggling for putties.
Of any type.
Of any type, yeah. Bizarrely enough.
If it was my choice, I'd go with Extreme Metals every time if you're doing what you're doing.
I suppose they've got a bigger range, but I find the super metallics harder wearing. I think they dry absolutely rock hard and you can't wear through them. With the AKs, I find you've got to leave them for at least a week to properly harden off, or you will wear the edges through.
But again, the thing is, you're talking horses for courses, because if you want a metalizer finish, and obviously the super metallics, although they're very, very shiny, they're still a metallic. So totally different ball game. Really,
what do you reckon? Well, they do stainless, titanium, and all proper metal colours.
I wouldn't have said so. I'd still put them down as a metallic over, because obviously the thing is with titanium and things, because they're quite dull, they look very much like a metallic anyway. I know every time I watch, it's titanium on this, and it looks like a normal metallic finish rather than a metal. But I think as soon as you're going into aluminium, stainless steels, especially stainless because of the blue hint to it as well, that's when you need to catch it in the light. So different sort of ball game for those ones.
Yeah.
But again, the Tamiya lacquer range of metallics, I've been using them recently quite a lot. Yeah. And again, if you don't want a metalizer type finish, as in it's got that reflecting of all the colours coming through it, and you just need metal type finishes, dull ones, so like flat aluminium, especially titaniums, those types of colours, iron, you can get away with using those. you know, because actually Tamiya's, which you use for iron, it worked really well. I was doing it was it LP61 for iron. It's actually quite good. It's got a really nice finish to it, and I was messing around with that on a different project the other week. So yes. Right, Mike says, have you heard about Sprue Brothers are going to be getting into 1/72 scale kits, and they're planning to release all 12 versions of the Phantom? Yes, I did. I was sent a promo thing for them, a very nice video with it all on there. So yeah, apparently they've gone in with one of the Phantom groups.
Phantom Freaks.
Phantom Freaks, and they're designing a full range of
what they're called,
all the versions of it.
In 30 seconds. God, they're
30 seconds.
Huge. What are that for?
30 second or 7 second?
30 seconds.
30 second.
30
yeah. 30 second scale kits.
Are they doing the spay engine ones as well?
No.
Well, I haven't seen that because I've seen some stuff about this, and none of them's got a spay engine one in it. But they may be, because they're talking about 12 versions, and I was going through it on the back of my hand and can't actually think of 12 versions in the normal variety of it. You know, so
they're on about starting with a B, aren't they, and then seeing how it goes, because this is all got to be sales related.
Oh, absolutely, it's all hypothetical. Saying they're going to release all 12 versions, it might bum, and you're never going to just release them just because you said you're going to. So,
but good luck to them, eh? It's
from what I've seen of obviously early stuff, they do look very nice. You know, are they on a par with Tamiya's, which I think are probably still holding the trophy? Then probably it looks like it from what I've seen. They look very, very nice indeed. The way they're sort of doing it is it's obviously, because Phantoms can be quite modular, that's how they're going to do it. So it'll be a case of like, you know, the S version's got a totally different wing to like the J and all the things like that. So that's how it's all going to work. You're going to get that type of scenario with it. I think, you know, I do know Gordon, the owner. Perhaps he's got an itch he wants to scratch, shall we say. And we have said this, isn't it? If you had the money, you know, and you wanted to do it, and you were into that type of thing, then maybe that's what you're going to do. So good luck to them. Again, this is, you know, we were talking about this the other day with a certain other kit, wasn't it? It's all hypothetical until we see it and it's out and everything else. They're talking about it now. They're getting the buzz going for it. You know, if it happens, if it comes off, then fair play, and it'd be nice to see it. But again, it is one of those things. It's 30-second scale kits. You've got to have deep pockets. You know, it's not going to be a cheap kit. So
no,
we will see how it all comes out.
So I was looking forward to the Daco Forge Your Magister coming out, but that seems to have
died a death.
Yeah,
for now anyway.
Again, that's the trouble. Like we've discussed this off air as well as on air. Is that people often say to us about, oh, have you heard such and such are releasing and stuff, and we've heard stuff so many times, and it just goes quiet. You know, and you know, then you do a little bit of digging to it, and it actually never progressed that far. You know, there was a bit of a thing made of it, and it sort of gets people talking, and obviously the company can judge how much feedback they're getting from it, perhaps how popular it would be, and perhaps it's not actually as popular as people think. And also, you always get that thing, and you know, we say it with Wing that wings with a Lancaster. Oh, great, they release it. How many people are actually going to build it? You know, how many people are actually going to buy it? Because it's going to be a lot of money, you know, and you know, at the end of the day, it's a business. And I think people, the thing with our hobby is it's driven by the heart. People get very passionate about the subject they're working on. Like, Jesus, I've been banging on about a Vulcan for how many years now? And, you know, it is one of those things where somebody at the end of the line, though, has to come up with the money and put it into a project. And if they don't get it back at the end, they're either got more money than they can care about, or they're a millionaire or something, you know, but they need something to back that project. You know, it's not, you know, it's a bit like all of us saying, oh, well, we'll do a crowdfunder for it, and we'll design a kit and release it. But you've still got to get a lot of money, and it's a time and a lead time all into this one. And that's the thing where sometimes I think companies, they have expectations of it being one thing, and then, you know, if they're getting through the project, it never really materializes. So somebody has to make the very difficult decision to say, can it? Just forget it, we're not going to bother, because we can't afford to lose that amount of money into it. And as we know by speaking to companies and manufacturers now, we've got a better understanding of how much it costs. It's not just designing a kit. The tooling cost is horrendous, you know, and then obviously injection molding isn't cheap and various things like it, especially when you want to be at the top level. If you want to do a limited run kit, yeah, you can do that. But if you want to produce something which everyone's going to go cuckoo about, and oh, it's a perfect kit, you've got to have deep pockets, or somebody needs to have deep pockets, you know. And again, it's one of those. It's very easy to get swept along with these, but somebody at the end of the day has got to pay for it.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, Dino says, or David says, I should say, we need to change his name.
Yep.
He's under an alias. Do you have any direct contact with Das Works, MBK? Isn't that just limited, MBK? No, perhaps something in GBH, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
GHB?
Yeah, it's Model Balconic, isn't it?
Oh, right, okay. For suggesting new kits, or do you have contact with your wholesaler importer? I've tried both Das Works and Albion Alloys. I've never got a response. No, we don't.
Well, we've got fingered with Albion Alloys. But
yeah, we obviously, that's our importer. So we only go as far as the importer.
Regarding what?
Yeah,
yes.
What? They don't say regarding, are you missing a part?
That's actually a good point. Yes.
You know.
Are you talking you need spare parts?
You just want to have a chat with them?
Or
Didn't you say
just
regarding
suggesting a new kit subjects?
Yeah.
You know.
Yes.
Don't know. Mind you, when we spoke to Airfix about this, isn't it? You know, they get something like 7,000 people suggesting subjects a year.
Oh god, yeah, they must get
yeah. So you know those sheets at the shows where you fill in and they say, you know, what would you like to do next?
Yeah.
It was like Jesus. So yeah, that's the trouble. I'm not going to try and butcher your name. How would you pronounce that?
Ollie.
Ollie, right, we'll go with Ollie. Hello, hope you have a nice day. Thank you for your inspiration and knowledge. It's OLE-Henrik.
Ollie Henrik.
Ollie Henrik, yeah.
Ollie Henrik. Ollie Henrik. That's it. Is he Swedish? Just sounds good. Anyway, often someone says that a kit is unbuildable. My question is there such a thing as an unbuildable kit? Or is the question about the lack of know-how to model, or the lack of will to put time and effort into it? I'm sorry for my bad English. Sorry for our pronunciations.
Yeah.
You will now be forever known as Ollie. It's a bit like Mr. J. Instead of saying Jan. Right, okay, so to be honest, I think you've actually answered my question. What my answer would be, I think sometimes when people say the kit is unbuildable, especially modern kits, I think it does come down to a lack of know-how of how to fix a problem. I know I've often said that I think construction, because we've now segregated now, don't we? We've got it construction and then art. But as far as construction is concerned, I think a lot of people have forgotten the basics. You know, like when a kit doesn't go together, they just say it's a terrible kit and it's unbuildable, instead of the way it used to be, where all kits were unbuildable and you had to use filler. You used to have to shave bits off, you know, to make it fit. That was what it was all about, wasn't it?
Bill, before we get into this, I think this is tomorrow's discussion.
Yes.
Construction.
True. Construction, yes. Yes.
I'm going to put it up for tomorrow, open the questions back up, and it's going to be on construction, because we've already done the arty, painty side of it, really. So I think
so we will roll this over, but just to basically answer your question, I think yes on both parts. I think it is lack of know-how, because people just don't understand how to fix things when they don't work, and also a lot of people really can't be bothered, and they literally will then chuck it off to one side and call it unbuildable when it's just because they need to push through that particular thing. But we will cover this fully tomorrow.
Yeah,
I think it's a good discussion.
It is a good point, because we did cover
examples.
We'll
pull out some examples.
Yes, Andy's got loads.
I've got loads.
Okay, so David says, hello Phil, Matt and Andy. Brett Marquette and I were at Las Vegas. We know. Last week, I was amazed by the variety of models in the competition room. My point is, there seem to be lots of gaps in the categories.
Hey, don't knock that show. You haven't been Telford yet this year.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, good point. See what Telford's like this year, if it happens. Anyway, he was saying about when you guys go to the model shows, do you ever have moments when you see a model kit and say to yourselves, wow, that's a nice looking kit, I ought to sell these at the Flory PM store? Cheers.
No, see it and say, I'd like to build that.
Yes.
On a personal level, but
I think, I tell you what, I'll speak for, obviously, I think all three of us. When we're at model shows, we're not in business mode. Does that make sense? Because we go around looking at kits going, that's a really nice model. He's done a really nice job on that. Or I'd love to build one of them. I never think to myself, I think we should sell them.
Especially when we're in the competition room, you're like looking at the quality of the build, aren't you? Not really thinking...
Yes.
Yeah, you've got to separate the hobby from the business, if that makes sense. And obviously, if we're going as us and not as said business...
Yes. Even as a business, when we go to Telford, then we go upstairs.
I've never thought
to the competition room.
I've never thought, I need to sell that kit.
No, I've never ever thought that.
No, it's never crossed my mind, to be perfectly honest.
To be honest with you, with our range of kits, is when we first set up the company all those years ago. But the thing is that we just had one simple goal, wasn't it? And that was to sell the kits that we would build.
Yeah.
So we've often said is that, and sometimes we've been criticised for it because we don't stock everything. So we don't stock what I call cash cows. So, because we as a company could buy in bulk, but we'd have a load of drivel. So because what happens is a lot of the wholesalers and distributors and things like that, they will do you a special offer. If you spend X amount with them, you can have a pallet. But on that pallet, you might get 10 of one kit, 20 of other, and a load of bits and pieces and stuff that, and it just makes up for the sale of it. We don't tend to do that because we like to cherry pick what we want. As I said, we like to dive in cages and things and various things. And when we do go round to the importers and things like that, we literally pick off the shelf what we want instead of doing fixed deals and stuff like that, purely because you do end up with some stuff that perhaps isn't the best kit, shall we say, in there, and we don't really want those. Don't get us wrong, sometimes we get asked by people for kits that wouldn't be our cup of tea, but as we've said, if somebody wants it, we can get anything in. It's not a problem. Just because we don't actually have it on the site doesn't mean we can't get it, and that goes for most things. Say speak to Andy, he'll tell you if we can get it in or not.
Well, again, it's production. It's what's in production and what's not. Because I've said this many times before. If you're going to ask for a kit that's not in production for God knows how long, then no, we ain't going to get it in. But if it's currently in a production run of said manufacturer, then probably we can get it in.
And for the past 12, 18 months, it's been difficult, even if things are in production, to get them in anyway.
To get them in anyway, yeah.
Or even know when to know when they're coming. It's been
most stuff we can get hold of as if our stockists have it in stock as well.
But also, I think that comes down to some stuff's very niche. Like we said, like for us stocking wing nut wings when they did, we used to get it in. And we would get bits and pieces in and we would cherry pick what we were bringing in and stuff like that. Wouldn't mean though we'd keep a warehouse full of wing nut wings, which I know a lot of people say you should have done because we might have made an absolute mint. But from our point of view of just running a day-to-day business, it's one of those which is a little bit niche. It's a bit like having a warehouse full of A-model bisons, probably not going to be our big bestseller.
Would we have made a mint on wing nut wings because knowing us would have probably sold them off cheap when they went?
Well, yeah.
To be honest, like we did with Kitty Hawk,
yeah.
Instead of sitting on Kitty Hawk and just waiting a bit and making a mint on it and bunging them on eBay and flogging them privately, we put them on sale and to clear out the stock.
Yeah, just to allow people to get them while they're there.
Whilst they're there, you grab them. So, but yeah. But I must admit, I've never been to a show and thought we ought to stock that because normally by the time it's on the show table, we've had the option to get it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and to be honest, as a newer business, technically we've only been going 4 years, it is that thing where we've been building up our stock gradually. Unfortunately, we couldn't afford to stick in £250,000 to fill a warehouse. We've built up to our level now, of stock. So what we've done, to be honest, like you see us doing the pre-orders, we usually put up the pre-order for it. We gauge how much, people want that particular kit, and it gives us a good idea of how good a seller it's going to be. So then it helps us then decide how many we're going to get in.
I think if you see other shows, say for example the Suzuka show and things like that, where you see the new releases, it's different because you think, oh yeah, they'll be good to get in. or at Telford when Airfix do the releases. But usually when they do their releases, it's like.
Well, the plan is, to be honest, I think when Nuremberg's back and we can go and travel, is to actually go to Nuremberg and have a walk round, a chat, see people, make contacts. Because, again, you want one, like you say, you actually want not a model show per se as a competition, you want like a trade show where you are dealing with manufacturers, aren't you, and new releases. But to be honest with you, you know about new releases for even what they do sometimes because of the internet, don't you? And this is oh right, that's interesting. You ain't got to literally go anywhere because you can just look on your phone.
Well, we do talk to reps and importers and say, when you're getting this in, have you seen this? Which is what their brand is, and they don't know about it. And we know about it before they do.
That's the thing, what we've said before, about the internet.
The internet,
like to leak things, like to get get one up on even companies in a way. But again, I've said it before, and I'll say it until I'm blue in the face. It's just it takes that element of surprise out of it. When you know before, but it's not like that kit is going to come a month after. No. It could be a year down the line. It could be 2 years down the line before you see the kit. The buzz is gone, the excitement's gone. It's just again, I don't know. It's a bugbear of mine, full stop. I think with manufacturers and the internet or whatever is how things get leaked or when they're announced or whatever. I just always think it's far too soon.
Like I've always said, Tamiya was always really nice because Tamiya, if they're gonna, when it gets announced or released,
it's nearly ready.
It's pretty much done.
Yeah, it is.
It could be still tweaked. Don't get us wrong; they can still make changes, and they often do. But it's pretty much there. And I think really, out of all the manufacturers now, Tamiya are the only ones who play it that close. Because they're that sure of their product that they're happy to do it, and I'm not being funny. Like Airfix, we've known about the Mozzie now for over 18 months. And all the rest of it, and obviously when the Vulcan, obviously it sat, and then it was another how many months before we actually saw one, and various things. So again, it's that thing where you've got a long lead time, but certainly Tamiya have always done that thing where they usually rack up at a show. And it's like, oh look, and here's a sprue shot, or here's a render, and all the rest of it, and you just know it's pretty much done.
My theory, obviously that's the size of the company. Tamiya are a massive company. They can do that because they've got the financial backing to do it. Obviously Hornby's not a massive company, and a lot of the other manufacturers of kits aren't a massive company. I tell you who else does it actually, Trumpeter. And Hobby Boss, you don't really see their stuff until it's back ready.
Yeah, ready to go. Yeah.
But again, as in a company, I presume they're quite a big concern.
Yeah.
So I can see it with the little ones because they want to try and get the buzz going for people to get interest in it, shall we say,
and to appease their shareholders because they want to know.
Yeah,
the market's going to look good.
Who really has shareholders? Are you on about these? Or I wouldn't have said like most of the little companies have shareholders.
No, but.
But I would have thought, we'll take your Vulcan because it's sitting on your desk. If that was announced by Airfix, and it was released the week after, or 2 weeks after, I wonder if they've had more sales because there'd be more excitement for it.
Yeah.
If you know where I'm going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas. This into Dig Airfix, by the way, before anybody thinks it's not. I'm just taking it as an example because it's sitting there on his desk. But, 18 months down the line, because obviously there was a delay because of COVID, you can't foresee any of what's happened anyway in the past, year and a half or whatever. It'd be nice to see the comparison if you would or you wouldn't. I know everybody's wanted that kit anyway, so they're going to go and buy it. But, I'm getting out. So
no, totally. Yeah, I think, at the end of the day, different companies, as you say, the ones who have got the money, let's face it, and they're very sure of themselves, like Trumpeter and Hobby Boss and Merit, or whatever they call themselves these days, they're a big company. And I think, as I say, they'll release a kit and it's going to happen no matter what. We were saying about sometimes they might judge the thing and pull away like we've seen other companies do. I think they'll just push through no matter what it was. And the great thing about that is with especially Trumpeter and Hobby Boss side of it, we've seen some really left field stuff that you don't think many manufacturers would ever touch or do. They do really obscure models. They're not always perfect, don't get me wrong, but at least they've done them. And again, I think that's the thing, and say Tamiya, probably, like the Bandais of this world and the bigger ones and stuff, they have just got it set in stone. They're going to release and go through, where other ones, I think sometimes, even, talking about the Vulcan, this one was obviously released at Telford. It was a 3D print that was at Telford that first year. They could judge then how popular it's probably going to be by the feedback they were getting, and then they could work out how many they're going to make. So the tooling then, how good's the tooling got to be, to be able to produce X amount of these kits and various things to it, and they're sort of judging it. Whereas I think some of perhaps the bigger companies, they don't care. They're just going to do it, and it's probably the standard tooling for all of theirs, no matter what it is. And that's literally what they're going to run through, and they're going to flog X amount of them over 10 years or whatever it is of the kit's life, or the tooling.
But again, going back to this Mosquito, they can do different versions of that.
Yeah.
They can get some mileage out of the moulds, which again, if you notice what is being released by the bigger manufacturers, that's what they're doing. They're going to maximise what the subject matter is. If you bring a Tiger tank out, it's going to sell. Your Panther there behind you. There's other versions of that Panther that Meng do.
Yeah.
They know they're going to get some mileage out of it. It's just a tweak of, well, we need to add a gun, or we need to change some wheels or whatever. It's not massive, complete changes to the structure of it, if you know what I mean, like the hull or whatever. Obviously, the Vulcan sat there in front of you is a very limited aircraft with versions.
There's three versions available.
To do with it. And all the V-bombers that Airfix have done. Now, obviously, we definitely needed a neutral Vulcan a long time ago.
Yeah.
But from a business point of view, it is a very limited subject.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And again, I think you've got to think business to you, the consumer, as well, Because, like I say, I want to see a new one of these, I want to see a new one of these. I even think so with the British Phantom. Everybody else on, we need a new 48 British Phantom. But again, it's a limited aircraft. What you can do with it. We only used it,
Yeah.
So you've got no other countries that used it. There's only, the RAF and the Navy version.
Yeah.
How many squadrons used it?
Don't know, back in the day. There was probably quite a few aircraft actually built. In those days, we had proper squadrons. We had aircraft carriers full up.
On about decal-wise and stuff. It's not like a US Phantom, is it?
No, that's it. There's loads of them. Yeah, that's it. I know what you mean. Yeah.
So again, you've got to weigh up talking like manufacturers here of whether you're going to get your money back for your investment.
I think with Airfix, as I say, with this conversation go on forever, but I think Airfix, the nice thing about them is we often talk about how Tamiya, Hasegawa especially, play to their home market. And sometimes that's frustrating for us because, literally it's for the home market, that's why they're doing it. In some ways, you could probably, people, in that part of the world probably think Airfix do because, again, it's a British aircraft. As you say, we've got the 72nd Buccaneers, we've got the 72nd Phantoms, and they're all the British types only. We've got the Mozzie, the various ones.
The Chipmunk.
The Chipmunk.
You can name, what
the Vampire, all the various ones. They're all British, so they're probably thinking, they're just playing to the home market because they'll sell it there. Not going to sell many over here, know.
So it was almost a surprise when they bought out the Hellcat, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
I know there's a British version of it, but when they bought that out, it's an American aircraft. And did they do that to play to a different audience?
I still think they were testing the waters in a big way. Go big or go home. But I don't know. They've never said anything to me. But I still maintain that whole part of that was them taking a big chance to do it. Because if they'd done a 48 scale Hellcat, no one's going to take, because everybody else has done one. And even in 32nd they're available. But to do a 24 scale Hellcat, I think that was Airfix trying to get a foothold in the US. To literally, here we are, this is what we do. You may have never heard of us, but we've built now such an iconic, even if they'd done a Corsair, it couldn't have been more iconic. To do it. And they did it right. It was a beautiful kit, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with the kit. It was just really big. But then from a British point of view, it was a case of, yes, there was a couple of options for British ones to do it, but it's not like a Seafire or playing to the home market as they would normally do for that type of thing. And I think, you know, from a kit point of view, you get loads of mileage out of different versions in the US type ones, you know, and all things like that. And again, it was one of those where perhaps it didn't work out quite as well as they were hoping. I don't know. So I'm not privy to any of that type of information at all. But, you know, it would be interesting later down the line. I think something might come out that might say that they were trying to get into the US market. It is huge. It's, you know, as you say, you'd be a fool not to try and get in there, but perhaps it just didn't work, you know, for whatever reason. Perhaps it was too big. I know a lot of people that say usual thing is it's just too big. But, you know, you go big or go home. That's really give the Americans something that they haven't seen before, a 4th scale Hellcat. You know, it'd be interesting to see how many did sell over there.
Yeah.
You know, especially compared to the UK.
I do agree with you. Obviously, they play to their market, and I think they've always done it since they started as a company.
Which is a good thing, and not being funny. You know,
it did diversify a lot in the 60s and 70s. But
let's face it, Airfix recently they've obviously had a change of management and all the rest of it. We all know that story. But I think it's that thing of like, you know, they've gone back and said, what worked for us? And it was always the British stuff, you know, and it was all, Luftwaffe stuff, World War II, you know, European theatre stuff. There's always been a really strong market for Airfix. And I think now, literally, to get it back on track, they've gone back a little bit and said, look, let's play to our strengths as a company.
Yeah.
Get it on track, get the business going again, get the momentum of the company rolling, and then maybe go for other things. But you know, it's nice to see it. Don't get me wrong. As being, you know, a British person, I think it's great, you know, that we're seeing all of these coming back and doing it all, you know, and they are putting a lot of money, as we know, into new tool, you know, releases and various things. So good on them, really.
Be interesting to know how many Airfix kits are in that photo that you can see of that competition table.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, I know what you mean.
I bet the majority of it's
US,
American. Well, it'll be Chinese, Japanese, whatever. But it'll be a US subjects majority of it, won't it?
Yeah, that's it.
But
I don't know though. Yeah, but you say that though. But you do the top competitions at Telford, and I bet there's not that. The majority of it is RAF for the Americans. No. So I don't know. I think it's personal taste with that anyway, of what interests you. But yeah, you know, I presume if you look at the actual photos, the proper photos, then you'll get a gauge of what's what. But again, then that's personal taste of the photographer of what they like. Yeah. You know, if they,
absolutely.
If they like an F4 Phantom, you're going to take loads of F4 Phantoms over a Mitsubishi Zero or.
Yeah.
Or a 109 or something.
Yeah, it's the same if we walk around shows and take photos, and we'll all have
different
photos and stuff that we like, and
different interests, isn't it, in the hobby? So, don't know. Yeah, I know what you mean. Anyway, we need to cut this short.
We do, because we've gone over our allotted hour.
I've got things to do.
Yes, me too. I've got to paint this. So I've done the white underside, as you can see. Oh. So I need to mask it up now, and we're going to need to get the grey on today. That's the plan for today, get the grey on, and also I'll get that finished off editing, and that'll be up. By the time you see this will be down below. So you can watch the review on that one as well. Right. Very good. We'll call it there then, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. Don't forget, as always, get all your bits and pieces over on the PM store. The specials do change all the time these days. Couldn't you update them the other day as well?
Yeah, I think they did get updated. There's stuff on it.
Because I say it's rolling. Like we said before, we've got so much stuff coming in and out at the moment. It's you know, and sometimes, to be honest, it catches us on the hop. Like last week, if you're watching the show, when the Tamiya delivery turned up, we weren't expecting all of that lot. So it does turn up as and when as well. So just keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on the social media, the bits and pieces, and then obviously I'll speak to you again on Friday to update you with any changes as well that actually happened over at the store.
Cool.
Good job. Right, thank you very much for joining us this morning, because it is our morning here, probably your afternoon now. So we will see you again next week. Don't forget, we'll be live with you tomorrow night as well at 7:30, where we'll be talking construction. So if you want to join in with a conversation with that one, we'd love to see you on there as well. Right, that's it from us. Thank you very much, guys. Happy modelling. Take care. We'll see you soon.
Bye.